Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my faithful cohort and fellow internet superstar, Joe. Say hi, Joe. He's happy because he had a good Christmas. And yes, it's that time again. Yesterday was Christmas. I hope you all had a happy holidays or whatever else you celebrate at this time of the year. It's Monday night. It's the final Raw of 2011. How's the WWE going to close out their number one show? I got my notes. Let's get started. Monday Night Raw is taking place from Chicago, Illinois. That's right, the hometown of the WWE champion, CM Punk. And of course his music hits, but instead of Punk, it's Johnny Ace. In Punk's t-shirt, doing his entrance, completely straight face. So yeah, while I don't care for Johnny Ace personally, I'd admit this was kind of funny. I mean, him doing all the motions, checking his watch, it's clobbering time! Completely straight-faced. It brought a chuckle to my face. He gets on the mic saying how no one's saying he's unpredictable anymore, and that no one predicted he would do that. Then Chicago-made Punk comes out and shows Johnny Ace how it's really done. He gets in the ring and asks Johnny Ace why is he trying to antagonize him and why he shouldn't kick him in the face. Johnny Ace reminds him that he's his boss and he will probably fire him, but he doesn't want to fire him because he wants to pay homage to Punk, seeing as how they're in his hometown. Once again called out for being unoriginal and unentertaining, he decides to make a gauntlet match between CM Punk and three as of yet named people to face off against. And should any one of those three people beat CM Punk, they will get a title shot at next week's Raw. Punk decides to up the ante by saying that if he beats all three of the guys, he will wrestle a fourth match against Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace is like, oh, you don't want none of this, Punk. Funny line, Johnny Ace, I give you that. But he finally relents. So, our main event, CM Punk, Gauntlet match. So, and there's that. Next up, our first match of the night. Also, we get a little promo for those weird little promos going on. That's right, whoever's behind these promos will debut next Monday night, the 2nd of January, the first Raw of the new year. Who it is? Some say Jericho, others say Taker. You never know. But we go into our first match, Booker T versus Cody Rhodes. Non-title match, of course. This was a very solid opening match. Booker T looked great in the ring. He didn't move around real slow, but he just moved at his own pace. Cody Rhodes also played excellently, and he fed off the heat from that Chicago crowd. Chicago's a great crowd. But in the end, it was Booker T pulling out the win and getting us a great Swinny-Rooney. Backstage, we have Ryder thanking John Cena for all the help he had in getting him over this year. Cena says that it was all Zack Ryder's doing, and says that tonight he will call out Kane and ask him why he's been getting in his shit. Dumbass. Anyway, another backstage segment where Big Show is called into Johnny Ace's office with a very sore-looking Carlton Banks by his side, aka David Otunga, who said he didn't really like it when he got knocked out last Thursday. Show says that he could beat David Otunga with one arm tied behind his back, and we believe him, so Johnny Ace makes it. David Otunga, Big Show, with Big Show's hand tied behind his back. Next up, Eve. It's a mixed tag match between Eve. Wait a minute. Eve can wrestle. This might be good. It's Eve, Zack Ryder versus Tyson Kidd and Natalya. Wait, did I read that right? Yes, you heard me. Tyson Kidd has a match on Raw. It was a pretty okay match. Natalya and Eve look great in the ring. But I will say this, Eve, please get rid of that booty shake. It shames us all, and you don't have nearly enough ass to pull it off. But needless to say, the Woo 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 Kid and Eve pick up the win. Next up, Cena calls out Kane. Dumbass. After schmoozing with the crowd and pulling out more cheap pops than Mick Foley, Miz comes out and says that he has some unfinished business with Cena, since there's some question about whether or not he legitimately beat Cena at WrestleMania. So they have an impromptu match, Cena versus Miz, which turns out to be the suckiest goddamn match on the card, because they only wrestle for like 2 minutes before Miz skips out of the ring and cuts a promo about how he's awesome and how Miz, you really need to step your game back up, man. Come on. So he's counted out. Cena wins. Then, as on his rant, R-Truth comes back. And no, this is not face R-Truth. No, this is still crazy R-Truth. And he unleashes a beating on Miz before pulling out the epic water bottle. I keep it in my house for self-defense. That's how badass it is. He finally says that he's not going to end it with Miz. No. He's going to make the next year for Miz a living hell. And little Jimmy said it's okay. So anyway, next up, Big Show versus David Otunga with one arm tied behind his back match. It was an okay match. Big Show was dominating, even with one hand tied behind his back. David Otunga still sucks. Until Mark Henry comes out. Now, I will give Mark Henry more credit here because, as everyone knows, Mark is suffering from a groin pull. And you could tell by the way he's getting into the ring that he is in a lot of pain. And for him to keep working like this, I got to give it up to the guy. I mean, any lesser man would have taken some time off, but no, not Mark Henry. He'll just soldier on. He starts beating up on Big Show as much as he can until, wait, the Bryan signal. It's Daniel Bryan. He comes out, providing a much-needed distraction for the Big Show, who runs off Mark Henry and then choke slams David Otunga. Daniel Bryan away! I always wanted to do that. Next up, Alberto Del Rio comes out in a wheelchair, in a golden wheelchair, pushed by Ricardo Rodriguez. Now, as my friends on CBR have said, Ricardo Rodriguez, you are the fucking man. I mean, he has taken some hellacious punishment over the last couple of weeks, especially that bump he took at TLC, and yet he still soldiers on. And so, hey, Ricardo, whatever ADR is paying you, it's not enough. Anyway, ADR says that he suffered a groin tear, so he'll be out. I don't know if this is legitimate or not. I don't know. I have to check my sources. He calls everyone peasants for not giving him any respect until the Bella skanks come out and try to soothe his injuries. But ADR's not having it. El Patron doesn't need your skankies. Wink. Finally, we reach our main event, Punk's Gauntlet match. And the order that was decided was first, Jack Swagger, second, the show-off, Dolph Ziggler, and third, Mark Henry. Now, since Mark Henry is booked in this, and since he is in no condition to wrestle, I assumed there were going to be shenanigans. So, first match, it's pretty simple. Punk, there was a pretty much back and forth, but Punk lands a kick to the head, and he pretty much hits him in the head with a kick, earning him the victory. Next up, Dolph Ziggler hits the ring, but not before Jack Swagger starts taking out Punk's legs. Punk goes for the go to sleep, but Vicky pulls his legs out from under him. Johnny Ace comes out and proceeds to throw out both Swagger and Vicky. He uses this time to conveniently remind Punk that he's not getting in the ring with him. In which time the show-off pulls out a zigzag from behind, pinning the world champion. So next week, Ziggler's got a title shot. And why wouldn't he? Because he's better than you. Hashtag heel. Later, Marks. Although I will say that Johnny Ace really didn't need to be in this match because Swagger is skilled. I mean, not Swagger. Ziggler is skilled enough to get the job done without him. So while I'm happy for Ziggler, I'm iffy about it. Next up, Kane comes out as he decides it's time for him to say why he's been attacking John Cena. He tells everyone that his mask is his true face. And then Cena immediately comes out, but then Kane surprises him with his renewed fire powers. If you don't know what kind of powers Kane has, watch some Attitude Era wrestling. You'll know why this guy was so fucking scary. He taunts Cena. He gives him this long promo about how Cena says he rises above the hate, but he knows that he hates everyone that boos him. It's, as my friend Legato and a fan of the show Legato, you know what I'm talking about. He likens Kane's speech to Darth Sidious from the Star Wars movies. How he uses the dark side to tempt Anakin Skywalker to the dark side, and you can actually see it in Cena's face. Cena's doing some pretty good acting here, more so than we've seen him in his movies, where he's actually repulsed by what Kane's saying, but deep down he knows it's true. That despite all that Cena's claims and saying he rises above the hate, that he can't get rid of the hate. That he knows that there are people who boo the living shit out of him. Hell, Chicago booed the crap out of him when he came out earlier. And so the Raw of the year ends with Cena looking sad and dejected as an entire arena literally boos him. Well, most of the arena, the women and little kids are still saying, "Let's go Cena," and the men are saying Cena sucks. But the Cena sucks are a lot louder because Kane was leading them. So, that was Raw. The last Raw of 2011. My thoughts? It was an okay show. But there were some laggy points. The Cena-Miz match was completely uncalled for. Johnny Ace had one or two funny lines, I'll give him that much. And there was a lot of backstage and promo work that really shouldn't have been on the show. But the in-ring work was solid. Booker T versus Cody was an awesome, awesome match. And the Gauntlet match, for what it was worth, was pretty good watching. And of course, we had Daniel Bryan and Michael Cole acting like a bitch. So anyway, moving on to the D-Cell Battery Award. And this battery goes, who should get it? There was no one particularly really bad this episode. So, no D-Cell Battery. I can't even give it to Michael Cole because he was tolerable at tonight. So, no D-Cell Battery Award. So, until then, tune in this Friday when I review the last SmackDown of the new year. Of this year. How will Big Show still deal with the fact that he was the shortest champion in the history of the business? And who will be willing to face Daniel Bryan for his new World Heavyweight title? Who knows? So until then, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe, saying good night and wrestle on.